Hello, my name is Jose Rodriguez, Technical Service Instructor. This video explains about the Caterpillar 6040AC excavator, pumps, tanks and drive controller. 6040AC, F South, E drive, hydraulic mining shovel. Working dimensions. E-drive motor, coupling gearbox, pumps. Gearbox and pumps. Pumps. Main module. It is the main module of the upper structure. In it is the electric motor, which is the one that generates the base power which is transmitted to the pump gearboxes, and the pump gearboxes generates the base energy which is transmitted to the pump gearboxes, and, as a logical consequence, the hydraulic pumps move. The movement of the hydraulic pumps is produced to perform the operational movements. This motor provides a power output of 1400 kilowatt. This motor needs a power supply of 7200 volt for its operation. Electric motor gearbox. Coupled to the electric motor by means of a coupling is a gearbox called a pump reduction box. As its name says, to this box are coupled all the pumps for the generation of hydraulic power. There are 4 main pumps that perform all the operational movements, except the rotation. Except for the turning, 3 turning pumps, 2 pumps to send hydraulic oil for cooling, and 1 servo pressure pump, and 1 for servo pressure. These boxes are lubricated and cooled by means of gear-type oil, the characteristics of which are indicated in the manual, whose characteristics are indicated in the maintenance manual, and the quantity is 149 liters. The quantity of oil is 149 liters. On its sides there are some rods to verify the level of this oil. To lubricate and cool this box has a pump that circulates the oil to maintain an ideal working temperature. Ideal working temperature. Electric drive Siemens. Electric drive Siemens. Hydraulic tank open system basics. Tank. High pressure distribution block. Insulation valves. Main pump. Excavator basic layout. Main pump schematic. Signal overview. PMS pump management system. Main pump in neutral. On startup of the motor, Servo oil is delivered to the main pump proportional valve 3Y281 and the X2 port on the main pumps. The servo oil passes over the check valve and into the rod side of the control piston, assisting the spring and keeping the pump in neutral for startup and low idle. With the control functions not operated, the pump management system supplies the proportional valve 3Y281 with 150 mA. This opens the proportional valve and allows 8 bars pressure to pass through and into the X1 port of the main pump and onto the end of the control spool. 8 bars is not sufficient pressure to overcome the spring, so the spool remains in the closed position. Main pump in flow. With the motor running, the main pump is supplied with 50 bar servo oil at the X2 port and the pump is in neutral or zero flow. The proportional valve 3Y281 is also supplied with 50 bar servo. As the operator summons a function, the drive controller increases the MA signal, PMS current 225-820 mA, to the proportional valve. More oil passes through the proportional valve to the X1 port of the main pump control pressure 843 bar. This pressure now overcomes the control spool spring and allows 50 bar servo oil to transfer from the rod side of the control piston through to the piston side of the control piston. As the pressure on the rod side is greater than the piston side, the control piston moves and the main pump comes onto stroke. Output pressure from the main pump now overcomes the 50 bar servo oil supplied to the X2 port of the main pump. As the main pump pressure increases, the force on the rod side of the control piston and the main pump output is increased. Main pump pressure cutoff. A pressure cutoff valve is fitted to each of the main pump for the purpose of limiting the maximum main pump output pressure to 320 bars for all working equipment functions and 370 bars for the travel functions. The output pressure from the main pump is sensed at the pressure cutoff valve. The pressure cutoff valve is held closed by the spring, which is set to 320 bars. As the hydraulic system comes under load, the pressure in the output from the main pump starts to increase. When the output pressure reaches 320 bars, it overcomes the spring on the pressure cutoff valve. The pressure cutoff valve now opens and high pressure oil is directed from the piston side of the control piston to tank. The rod side of the control piston is also vented to tank, however at a more reduced rate due to the orifice. The orifice on the rod side of the control piston ensures that there is a pressure differential between the piston side and the rod side of the control piston to allow the pump to destroke. The main pump is destocked, allowing the output flow to decrease to zero, but the maximum pressure of 320 bars is maintained. As soon as the load is removed from the hydraulic system, the output pressure drops and the pressure cutoff valve closes. Pressure is now allowed vent from the piston side of the control piston and the main pump is brought back onto stroke and the output starts to increase. Main pump supply. Travel supply. Attachment valve supply. Pressure cutoff valve. Pressure sensors and manual checkpoints take care that the plugs are not put on in the wrong order, otherwise you see the wrong information in the screen. Pressure cutoff valve P1. Gauges fitted to test points on high pressure distribution block. Left joystick fully deflected forwards to end stop. Stick extend function stalled. Pressure cutoff valve P1 set to 320 bars. Pressure cutoff valve P2. Gauges fitted to test points on high pressure distribution block. Left joystick fully deflected forwards to end stop. Stick extend function stalled. Pressure cutoff valve P2 set to 320 bars. Pressure cutoff valve P3. Gauges fitted to test points on high pressure distribution block. Left joystick fully deflected forwards to end stop. Stick extend function stalled. Pressure cutoff valve P3 set to 320 bars. Pressure cutoff valve P4. Gauges fitted to test points on high pressure distribution block. Left joystick fully deflected forwards to end stop. Stick extend function stalled. Pressure cutoff valve P4 set to 320 bars. Travel circuit. The pressure cutoff valve sets the maximum working pressure of the travel circuit, pumps 2 and 3, to 370 bars. How this works: the pressure cutoff valve receives a 50 bar signal from the travel pressure boost solenoid 2Y242 when the travel pedals are depressed. This 50 bar signal enters the pressure cutoff valve and acts on the setting spring, increasing the setting value from 320 bars to 370 bars for travel function. The same happens with the clam function if required, optional 2Y111. The end.